Hey, welcome back to the Big Ranch Show. As always, thank you for joining me. If you could, hit that subscribe button down below. Hit that little bell as well, or else YouTube will not send you notifications because they're kind of stupid. Anyhow, moving on, let's get right to it. Last Thursday, I don't know if you've heard about it, but last Thursday there was an incident in Philadelphia where two black individuals were escorted out of a Starbucks by police. Now the incident all started when they came to meet a friend of theirs at the Starbucks and they were waiting for him to show up. There's a video out there which if I could put it here I would, but if I put it here I'll probably get a copyright strike like I did the last time I used a video. But what happened, even the CEO of Starbucks has called reprehensible. The manager had two individuals in his or her store saying that weren't buying anything, so they asked them to leave. One, if you've ever been to a Starbucks, that's not generally normal, operations right there. That's not asking people to leave isn't normal. I've been in a Starbucks. I spent hours in a Starbucks waiting on a friend once. Was never asked to leave. And considering what the weather's been like, maybe it was cold. I don't know. I wasn't there. But they were waiting inside for an individual to show up. And as they were escorted out by police, their friend showed up. Now, the problem I have here is that people are trying to boycott all of Starbucks. And all of Starbucks is not to blame. This one manager at this one location is to blame. I have never heard of people being escorted out of a Starbucks for not buying anything while they waited on a friend. Never once in my life have I heard of such a thing. But that's exactly what happened here. So I wanted to bring you that, and I wanted to talk to you about some other stuff that happened with it. And let me read you, I'm going to read you the little letter that came from the CEO of Starbucks. Dear Starbucks partners and customers, by now you may be aware of the disheartening situation in one of our Philadelphia area stores this past Thursday that led to a reprehensible outcome. I am writing this evening to convey three things. First, once again express our deepest apologies to the two men who were arrested with a goal of doing whatever we can to make things right. Second, to let you know of our plans to investigate the pertinent facts and make necessary changes to our practices that would help prevent such an occurrence from ever happening again. And third, to assure you that Starbucks stands firmly against discrimination or racial profiling. In the coming days, I'll be joining our regional vice president, Camille Hames, who is on the ground in Philadelphia to speak with partners, customers, community leaders, as well as law enforcement. Most importantly, I hope to meet personally with the two men who were arrested to offer a face-to-face apology. We have immediately begun a thorough investigation of our practices. In addition to our own review, we are working with outside experts, community leaders to understand and adopt the practices and adopt best practices. The video shot by customers is very hard to watch, and the actions in it are not representative of the Starbucks mission and values. Creating an environment that is both safe and welcoming for everyone is paramount for every store. Regretfully, our practices and training led to a bad outcome. The basis for the call to the Philadelphia Police Department was wrong. Our store manager never intended for these men to be arrested, and this should have never escalated to the point that it did. We also will further train our partners to better know when police assistance is warranted. Additionally, we will host a company-wide meeting next week to share learnings, discuss some immediate next steps to take, and underscore our long-standing commitment to treating one another with respect and dignity. I know our store managers and partners work hard to exceed our customers' expectations every day, which makes this very poor reflection on our company even more painful. Finally, to our partners who proudly wear our green apron and our customers who come for a sense of community every day, you can and should expect more from us. We will learn from this and be better. Respectfully, Kevin Johnson, CEO. Now that is from, like I said, as I said, the CEO of Starbucks. As he said, what happened Thursday was not does not reflect their mission as a company. And he also admits that the police should have never been called. And that and apparently the manager didn't want them to be arrested, but you called the cops. If you called the cops, clearly you didn't want them in your building, and when they're not doing anything wrong, it's going to lead to them being arrested, because if they're not doing anything wrong, there's no reason for you to ask them to leave. Now, maybe that location has a no loitering sign or something, but I've never been to a Starbucks where they tell you can't sit and wait for a friend. I've never been really anywhere that didn't let me wait for a friend. As long as I wasn't causing a problem. And from the witnesses and the people that you can hear in the video saying that they were doing nothing wrong, they were just sitting there, it's clear that this is a problem. Clearly, the manager has a problem with black individuals being in their establishment. And the thing is, I'm not going to blame Starbucks for this. I'm not going to blame the police for this. The police just did their job. They were called because supposedly there was a disturbance, and the two individuals were arrested. I don't blame the cops for doing what they were asked to do. I don't blame Starbucks as a whole. I blame this location and that manager. And people are always like, well, if you see something like that, why don't you say something and it'll stop? Maybe you can stop it. It clearly didn't. They were asked repeatedly, why are you arresting them? They didn't do anything wrong. Stop harassing them. But that's not what happened. It didn't stop. It didn't quit. And that's wrong. It's completely bogus. Even the DA says there's a total lack of evidence that they committed any kind of crime. The police department is investigating. Starbucks is investigating. And I hope Starbucks does make whatever changes to their training and stuff to make sure this doesn't happen again. But as for Starbucks, they do a lot of good. They do a lot of good things. They help. I've seen things where they've helped at-risk youth, and where they've done things to help our veterans. And they've always tried to make a place for you can go, feel comfortable, and have fun. That's always been the thing. There's been a few times that I've sat in a Starbucks because I didn't want anything and just talked to a friend. I didn't buy anything. I've had times where I waited on a friend to join me at a Starbucks. And I didn't have any money on me. I had to wait till them to get there for me to even buy anything. So to sit there and tell me, as I kept getting told on social media, that I'm just missing the point. No, I'm not missing the point. The point is the store manager at this particular location was racist. They were scared of two black individuals sitting in their establishment. That is what it was. That's what it was about. You can call me what you want. Call me some social justice warrior, some idiot. Call me whatever the hell you want. I don't give two shits. I really don't. But the fact is, people should not be kicked out of a Starbucks simply for sitting down. If they were causing a ruckus, causing a mess, knocking stuff over, yelling at patrons, okay, call the cops. But this isn't what was happening. This isn't what took place at this Starbucks. What took place at the Starbucks is two black individuals sat down waiting for a friend. And that friend shows up right as the video starts to roll, while they're being escorted out. Now, I wish I could see more video to it, so I could see more of what led up to that. But I am sure Starbucks will do their due diligence and make sure that this doesn't happen again, and they'll get to the bottom of it. As the CEO says, he wants to personally apologize to the two individuals that were arrested, and they apologize that it even happened. It should have never happened. How many of you have gone to a Starbucks and just sat there and not bought anything? I'm sure a number of you have. And if you ask me, it's not asking too much. It's not sitting there trying to pull a race card or anything like that when you point out the facts. The fact is, these two individuals, if they had been white, would not have been kicked out of their store. You and I both know that. There's no doubt in my mind. There is no doubt one bit in my mind that if these two individuals had been white, there'd have been no phone call. So I hope this manager has learned their lesson. I hope Starbucks does something to reprimand this manager. I don't know, if nothing else, send them home without pay for a day. I don't know. Something. I'm not saying they should lose their job over it, but there should be some kind of reprimand of some sort. There are going to be people out there that are calling for boycotts or calling for the person to be fired. I don't think they should be fired. I think they should maybe be reprimanded and maybe get some training of some sort so they can understand not to kick people out of their restaurant just because they don't like their look. Anyhow, that's what happened back on Thursday in Philadelphia. It's actually not all that surprising to me, considering how some of the people have treated, they treat other people from out of town up there in Philadelphia. As a football fan, I see this. I see how they treat individuals all the time. So it wouldn't be surprising to me that there would be somebody there that would treat people like this. But I'm sure you find assholes like that manager everywhere across the country, and I'm pretty sure that it happens all the time. But those people stood for their belief, stood for the fact, stood up for themselves and said, no, we're not leaving just because we're sitting. We're not doing anything wrong. So anyhow, this is America in 2018. This should not be happening. This is something that it's just totally reprehensible, as the Starbucks CEO said it was. And I am beyond dismayed at the fact that it happened in this country in 2018. Anyhow, y'all have a great day. This has been the Big Ranch Show. I'm your host, Jacob Keck. I'll see you down the road.